Hello and welcome to another episode of Unconventional Creatives. I'm Stacy from 𝒄𝒐𝒎𝒎𝒏𝒊𝒕𝒚 and you are about to watch our interview with Elisa. She is a pole and circus performer and the founder of 𝒄𝒐𝒎𝒎𝒏𝒊𝒕𝒚. If you're not subscribed already, we would really appreciate if you would hit that subscribe button down below and let us know what you think about this video by leaving a comment. Let's start a conversation.
Thank you for coming in.
So, I know you do many different forms of dance and movement arts, and I'm really curious, what was your first introduction? Did you choose one style? How long ago was it when you first started this?
I guess I'll start with my pole and circus career. I always wanted to be a dancer as a kid, but I never was a dancer. My parents just never put me in dance. But when I think it was 2008, I started pole dancing, and I started just doing like beginner classes. I had no experience. I had like no dance background, but I loved it so much. And, I just sort of like, I wanted to be immersed in it. I wanted to teach. I wanted to do more. I wanted to share it with other people. I wanted to like have a career in the arts, and I always did want to have a career in the arts. I used to be a musician before I was a dancer, but yeah, that just sort of like awakened something in me, or woke something up in me, I should say, that was like, this is where I need to be. And then I started Circus Arts in 2009, and by 2010, I had actually opened up my first pole studio. I was a baby, but I didn't know what I was doing, but I took that plunge, and I ended up selling it to my partner a year in, or selling my half, but I guess I never let go of the dream, because look where we are.
Yeah, when I first met you, 𝒄𝒐𝒎𝒏𝒊𝒕𝒚 was in a different location,
Yeah.
and I know you kind of upgraded to this new spot, so how did that kind of start?
Well, when I bought my second studio, it was an already existing studio, and it was a lovely place, and I worked there as an instructor, and I was good friends with the owner, and who's a lovely person, but it was really her vision more than it was mine. So I think when I bought it, I always had this. Like, I just always had this idea in me that I was going to take it somewhere else. Like, it was never going to stay there. And we ended up staying in that space longer than I expected. We opened up a second, so I bought it in 2014, opened beginning of 2015. And then by 2017, I had opened up a second, like, smaller location in the East End. And then that closed in 2019, and I signed on for an even bigger location that didn't end up working out over the pandemic. So we ended up here. So this is sort of like mid-size, bigger than the space we were at, but smaller than my 2019 dream space, big dream space. But I'm honestly really happy to be here. This space really suits us, and I think there's a lot of room for growth here. So I'm happy to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe you can tell people who are like less familiar, like what sort of events or classes go on in this space.
Yeah, so I like to think of it as a creative space for a movement artist, where you can really hone your skills and learn how to work on an apparatus and work in sensual movement. So pole fitness is sensual and sexual based, like sexual movement based for sure, right? It doesn't always have to be that way. It can be very athletic. I know Toronto is a very conservative place. Canada is very conservative, but pole is inherently sexual, and the rise of pole fitness, I think, started with sex workers, or we know started with sex workers. So we've sort of really tried to foster that safe environment for people of all genders, of all body types, all ages, to just find what is sexy or sensual about themselves. So really it's about opening up your own self and learning dance and movement in a place that is like non-judgmental and very inclusive and accepting. So, and you can learn how to dance, but also I think discover something about yourself. And now that we've added the circus element, circus has always sort of been, historically, circus has been, I guess, like a freak show, if you will, for lack of a better term. But most circus artists actually love that we all kind of came from that freak show. We're like the misfits, I guess you could say, the weirdos, and I feel like the two communities just work really well together and blend really well, sort of like the outcasts, and but it's becoming a little bit more mainstream, which is great from a business perspective, but also I think great for everybody, because it means that both of these art forms are going to be more widely accepted, and maybe you'll see them more, and that's all we could ask for. So yeah, that's pretty much what we do.
How do you address that stigma, whether it's against, you know, circus performers or sex workers, when, you know, people first come to your space, they're probably already, you know, open-minded, they're excited to be here, and, you know, they want to be engaged in that. But knowing that, you know, on the performance side of what you do as well, do you face any sort of backlash, or people generally? I'm intrigued that you said that you feel Toronto's kind of a conservative culture. Maybe you can speak more to that.
I do. I do feel that it is. I mean, I guess I can't really speak for other places, because I've really only lived in Toronto or various parts of the GTA for my whole life. But I feel that in Toronto, I would say this. At this point in my life, now that I've spent most of my life pole dancing, I don't feel like I get it anymore. I don't get a lot of people pushing that stigma on me. I mean, I've obviously, you know, I obviously take it very seriously, and the people around me, you know, they usually respect that. I guess they can see how serious about it I am, because it's my career. Not that it's not serious if it's not your career, but I think that step has made people a bit less apprehensive to what I do. But I see it all the time with other people who maybe want to keep it quiet, that they pole dance, and they have every right to do so. It's their life, but they do have people in their lives that will judge them, or will call them, I don't know, sex workers or strippers, as if that's a bad thing, as if that's a negative thing, when realistically we need to end the stigma against sex work and strippers. It's really ridiculous that this stigma still exists, I guess, in like our day and age. And I think pole fitness, in the past, I think it has maybe hindered how people think, because there are some people or some pole dancers who like very aggressively are like, not a stripper. You know, that was a hashtag that was going around for a while, and that's something we don't really foster, that kind of environment here. But I think pole fitness can help break the stigma against strippers and sex workers. I think that's really important. Something that I really want to focus on and work towards is like creating this like welcoming community, and like this is like it's okay to be sexual, it's okay to be sexy. Like, people are so afraid of their own sexuality, and I think it has a lot to do with religion, you know, which I understand, and I respect everyone's spiritual beliefs, but the truth is humans are sexual beings. Like, all of us, no matter what your gender is or what your orientation is, we're sexual beings. So I think it's really important that at the end of the day that is, I think, fostered in a safe place. You know, like, where else would be like a safer place for you to express yourself sensually? And even if, you know, that term sex, 'cause sometimes the term sex is scary, even if that scares you, I usually like to use the word sensual, because I think it is more about like this sensual experience, like an intimate experience. And intimacy isn't always sex, but it's intimacy like with yourself. But yeah, some people just aren't ready to take the plunge. But I don't know. I think things are changing, but I think change takes a long time, especially this type of thing. You know, I think corporations and boomers, and I don't hate to generalize, but I love my boomer parents, but they definitely are like very conservative. So it's been tough, I think, over the years to, I guess, express myself and have it feel okay. You know what I mean? With like these overlords that are like judging your every move. So I get it, where people come from. And my parents are very supportive. They definitely like love me and support what I do. So, but there were challenges. So I guess that's why I say Toronto is very conservative, because I've experienced it firsthand. Yeah.
The other aspect to me that's undeniable is the incredible athletic side of it, the immense strength that you need to have for all of these different forms that you practice. And I know it can be intimidating for beginners as well, who might feel like, I'm afraid to get bruises, I'm afraid to fall. So how do you kind of encourage people to push themselves out of their comfort zone?
Well, you know what? It's actually not as difficult as you'd think. I think the bravest thing people could do is just show up. Like the second they've come through the door, they've already fought most of those demons that are, keeping them from coming in. So once they're here, I mean, they usually will try it. And I mean, we have the rush of endorphins and adrenaline from exercise on our side. And, people fall in love. Most people fall in love with it because humans, even if, you're more of a cognitive person than you are a mover, humans were made to move at the end of the day. So I think it's so natural for us, and we forget, especially as adults. When we were kids, we had PE and we played outside. And as adults, you go for a walk. Maybe you go to the gym, but sometimes you go to the gym and you don't even really know what to do or how to work out your body or what's best for you. But when you dance and when you move and when you're doing something for you, that's supposed to build you up, whether it's physically or mentally or spiritually. It's like a drug. It's like a drug. It's like the best kind of drug. It's like eating healthy. It just makes you feel good inside and out. There's just it works for itself, really. And in terms of like bruising, or the pain is the big one, because pull can be they can all be pretty painful, but pull can be pretty painful because usually you have a lot of bare skin because it helps you stick to the pole. So that bare skin chafing does hurt, especially the thighs. So you'll hear a lot of people complaining about the thigh pain or the thigh bruising, but I feel like most pole dancers wear their bruises like battle scars, or like we call them pole kisses, or even battle wounds, because you are fighting that battle to like learn something and build a skill. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of grit.
I want to pivot to the performance side of what you do. I'm curious, do you kind of plan the choreography ahead of time? Do you kind of take an inspiration point and then just improvise from there? What do those performances look like?
So it depends. There's two different types of performances. So you kind of just laid them out. So yes, there's the choreographed performance, which we call a featured act, where we'll choreograph. Usually we all have acts that we kind of just keep in our back pocket. I mean, maybe not after the pandemic, but before the pandemic, we all had a bunch of acts and, we'd keep in our back pocket. But sometimes we do choreograph things like brand new for someone's wedding or for a show or for a specific theme. And then there's the ambient side. So ambient performing is what I do the most. Which is like at nightclubs, like I perform at Rebel on Saturdays, that's ambient. So what that means is it's more of like an atmospheric hype up type thing, where you do like your 3 sets on the pole and you're making it up as you go. And we've been performing at Rebel for a while, and we've been pole dancing for a while. So it ends up being like some of the similar same sequences, but for the most part, it's all freestyle. Like you kind of just get up there and you just, you've been pole dancing for so long, your body just goes, it just does the thing. So, so there's two different kinds. And I think I prefer ambient performing. It's a little bit less prep. And I like that I can sort of be creative and have fun, and that there's a bit of pressure taken off. And I love freestyling. I just love it. It's just sort of letting your body do what feels right and what feels good. And yeah, so those are the two kinds.
Could you describe like what goes on in your mind when you're in that style of performance? Are you like feeding off of the audience, or are you kind of just zoned out in your own flow?
Always feeding off the audience, which is hard because Rebel is like, just specifically, is a really great club, wonderful atmosphere. Like it's pumping, right? There's thousands of people, hundreds of people at least in the one room I'm in. So yeah, definitely feeding off of the crowd and the vibe, which is it's an unmatched energy. But every now and then you're performing at a wedding and it's much more subdued, or it's like, I don't know, maybe the music is a little bit more like cheesy, or not necessarily cheesy, not making fun of anybody's wedding, but more just like something that's a bit more like like a different vibe, a different mood, right? It's a bit more subdued, it's a bit more low key, it's a bit more low energy. So you kind of have to really bring it, you know? So that's when I would maybe look inside myself and really try to do the big smiles and the big grand gestures. Whereas at Rebel, I feel like I less have to take from myself because I can absorb the energy around me. So it really depends on the mood, on the event. But yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting question.
All right, so where can people see more of your work? Where can they inquire about Ultraviolet if they're curious maybe to take some lessons or see you perform?
So we have a website. And we're very active on social media. So it's uvpolefitness.com is the website, and uvpolefitness is our Instagram, Facebook, facebook.com/uvpolefitness. So that's where you can find the studio. We're also located in Toronto's West End, nestled in Little Portugal. So right on Dupont, just one intersection west of Lansdowne, in the Clockwork Factory building. And me personally, my Instagram handle is @ariel.l.uv, because UV is such a big part of my life. And yeah, you can see some work on there on my Instagram. We also have a YouTube channel, which is UV Movement. So yeah, we do a lot of content here. We do a lot of content filming and whatnot, and it's been great. Content is one of like my favorite things. So creating content and just, building those ideas. So yeah, you've got a lot to see if you check us out. Yeah.
We'll have many links in the description down below to all those resources. Thank you